bladder, half an idea where I'm going. It's Tuesday, and I'm wearing sunglasses. Wow! Get out of here!
The year is 2004. It was a Friday night, 7:30 to be exact, and the 3-part premiere of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends would air on Cartoon Network, and I would not be around thanks to karate practice. But when I returned home, my mother had recorded the premiere on VHS for me to watch later, back when DVRs weren't really a thing and no one knew what streaming was. I had been pretty excited to see this new show that Cartoon Network was promoting like crazy, so my disappointment from missing it was quickly washed away with that one tape. When I got home, I got to experience what would be the biggest cartoon on the network breaking its viewership record. So today, I wanted to look back on a show I re-binged through this year and holds a special place in my heart. Welcome back, or hello for the first time, to the 25 Days of Fringemas, where I cover something interesting, nostalgic, or holiday related every day from the 1st of December to the 25th, in order to find that holiday spirit I lost nearly a decade ago. So if you want to be part of this daily journey and help me find that good old jolly joy, subscribe and come aboard. In the world of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends become real, taking tenable physical forms as soon as a child imagines them. When said child becomes too old for their imaginary friend, that friend goes to Foster's, an orphanage for abandoned imaginary friends where they will be cared for until they're adopted by a new child. Each episode focuses primarily on Blue, a cool, smart-talky, mischievous blue imaginary friend, and his child creator, Mac, a smart but cautious 8-year-old boy. Foster's debuted with that 90-minute 3-part straight-to-TV film I mentioned, which introduced Blue, Mac, and the concept of imaginary friends, along with the home's lovable but mischievous founder, Madam Foster, the person who owns and runs the Foster house. There's also Madam Foster's granddaughter, Frankie, who is delegated to chores and keeping up with affairs around the house, as well as adoption business when it comes to that, and Madam Foster's own childhood imaginary friend, Mr. Harriman, a fluffy but strict business manager. In this 90-minute pilot, Mac is told by his mother that he is too old to have an imaginary friend, and it is time to get rid of Blue. Mac and Blue, not wanting to be split up, stumble across an advertisement for Foster's Home. The duo decide to strike a deal with Madam Foster and Mr. Harriman where Blue can live at the house without being adopted, as long as Mac visits him every day promptly by 3 p.m. The plots of individual episodes of Foster's were normally driven by Blue and Mac's wild escapades in and around the home, with a colorful, literally and metaphorically, cast of imaginary friends that also live in the house, often joining them in the hijinks. These imaginary friends include characters like Wilt, a tall, thin, friendly, red basketball-playing friend, inspired by Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt was the imaginary friend of Jordan Michaels, a parody on Michael Jordan's name. There's Eduardo, a timid Latin American purple monster who was the imaginary friend of a young girl who wanted to feel protected in her dangerous neighborhood, but he's the exact opposite of his looks, but Eduardo is a shy, timid creature. And Coco, a mysterious palm tree-haired bird who only ever says her name, and was capable of laying plastic eggs with anything inside of them. Canonically, Coco was found on a South Pacific island, and no one really knows who first imagined her. Maybe someone who was hit in the head with a cocoa nut? I apologize for that joke. Please stay.
Just a little joke.
Just a little joke?
Yeah.
Just a little joke? Well, I'm not laughing.
Well, it's kind of the truth. After the show, we found out this information, so I don't know. Ah, great, you're still here! Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was created by Craig McCracken, who was the creator of Powerpuff Girls, and later on, after adopting some beautiful dogs into his life with his at-the-time fiancée, spawned the concept of a show about adoption, but in the form of imaginary friends. The first thing that presents itself here is the specific look of the show, one that would stand out more so than what Craig had worked on before. According to McCracken, the art style of Foster's was supposed to be reminiscent of the period of late 60s psychedelic, when Victorian styles were coming into trippy poster designs. Craig specifically wanted the music in the show to reflect those looks and fuse it together, making a vibe described as psychedelic ragtime. Thanks to James Venable, who had worked with Craig previously on the Powerpuff Girls, would bring these vibes directly to the show's theme song, which perfectly blends that described sound. Throughout the show, James would work with Jennifer Remington to continue this sound for the overall score. McCracken has been well revered for his work both on Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and his other projects over the years, with him being quoted as one of the most successful creators of episodic comedy cartoons cartoons, and his style being at the forefront of a second wave of innovative, creative-driven television animation. Nowadays, McCracken and his work is credited as a staple of animated American 90s television. But how does this show go above and beyond to establish a certain tonality through its character development and visuals? Well, if you watch the show, there's a reason why you remember it so well, specifically the characters. Let's start with Eduardo, a large, terrifying-looking monster with large horns, a skull belt from 2000's Hot Topic and razor-sharp teeth, who would actually be scared of literally everything and was in most cases shy, and would be the first to leave any conflict any way he could. Wilt, a 10-foot-tall athlete who barely ever fits into frame, causing him to sit down to lower himself towards everyone. He has an eye and an arm that are both a bit messed up, making his design unique and harder to describe. Overall, he has a nice personality who never says anything without ending it with the question of if that's okay or I'm sorry. Coco is, well, Coco. But Blue, however, having a very simple design compared to every other friend in the house, but somehow stands out the most because of it, and the fact that he's the loudest and the most defined personality we follow. If you didn't catch that, look at these characters and then understand who they are. There is not one imaginary friend that fits who they are physically. They are the opposites for the most part of what you would and could expect them to be, defying those expectations, making them more unique, along with backstories to dive deeper into their origins. Eduardo, meant to protect and be menacing, is the opposite of all that. Wilt feeling not good enough for his creator Jordan Michael after saving him in a game of basketball, which resulted in Wilt taking damage to his body, literally losing most of his left arm. These paradoxes of characters play with you, the viewer's expectations. Don't judge a book by its cover, being the main theme woven into the fabrics of the show through how they wrote these characters. The time taken to develop these characters and flesh out their stories is how the show blended their personalities and their designs into a concept so memorable all these years later. It cracked the code of what can make a new idea work that goes beyond the words written in the script, but what the visuals themselves can say. It understood its audience and would teach you that what you may deem as your own insecurities, that you may wear on your sleeve, or you feel that you're perceived by, don't define you.
I'm sorry, Eduardo. I didn't really mean there were bugs in your bed. Bed bugs?
The show was funny, on top of all that, in many circumstances, heartfelt. It's hard to let go of things in your past that bring you joy. The reason we all have our own brand of nostalgia. Heck, the reason I make the content I do. This was my life growing up, the good times I remember in the media that shaped me, where I learned life lessons, learned to accept myself, and how to live a life that I can look back on one day and be proud of. Spending time reliving these shows and moments from my childhood, seek that warm feeling of myself coming home from karate practice to a VHS tape with the original 3-part premiere of the show recorded on it. After 6 seasons and a TV movie, that being Destination Imagination, where Frankie now is in some weird, mysterious world and essentially treated like royalty, but with one caveat, she can't leave. So it's up to the rest of the gang to go in and save her. The show would come to its natural end during a marathon of the final 5 episodes with the series finale, Goodbye to Blue. The show spawned 2 video games though. One of them came out for the Game Boy Advance in 2006, where you can play as either Mac or Blue with the ability to throw paper balls, slide down banisters, hide from enemies, and speak with residents of the house. It received mixed reviews, mainly for its pacing, as levels could range from really short or overly long. The other game, titled Imagination Invaders, would release on the Nintendo DS in 2007, where you would play as Blue and complete tasks and quests given to you while sometimes fighting off space nut boogies. But above all else, the one thing you can for sure take away at the end of the day is that if we lose our imagination, our creative spark that drives us in life, you essentially lose what makes you special. What does Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends mean to you? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter, or else I'll imagine up the worst kind of imaginary friend to come and bother you so much you'll wish cheese was there instead.
I like chocolate
milk. I'll see you tomorrow with another video for my next day of Fringemas. Check out the playlist to keep up with the month, but until then, later.